and I want to apologize to all of you for what I did. It was very wrong, and I am very sorry. I just would like to move on and lead a normal life. You know, get a job and a wife, and change my ways. And I hope this apology impresses you, even though my grandmother made me do it and I don't really mean it.
You mean you do mean it?
I mean, I do mean it. I don't think he means it.
It's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. Yeah, it's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got some love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. We started from the bottom, talking about the roots. Every time I'm in the booth, I gotta shoot the truth.
Hey, y'all. Boondocks Podcast. We're back. Season 3, Episode 6. We're covering Smokin with cigarettes, in which, if it's fun to do bad things, then Riley is having the best time ever with juvenile felon Lamilton Tayshawn. But when Lamilton wants to prove he has the juice, good time comes to a shocking. Will Riley know the ledge? But it's been a minute, y'all. How the fuck are you living?
The best way I can.
Yeah, you are.
yeah.
Hell yeah, you are. Little celebrity over there.
Celebrity who can't stand up on her feet.
Well, you know, that's the price of fame. When you spend the weekend in Reno with everybody knowing you at a convention.
And who
I mean,
needs
I
to
know that you
stand
will.
when your fans can
First,
hold
that was
you?
Santa Rosa, and then in
Santa
Reno.
Rosa.
Yeah, all I need to do is get out of a car and show my vagina, and I'm like right there. I'm like right with Paris and Kim, and I'm right there. I'm right there. Or no,
Oh,
it's
my
Lindsay.
Lord.
But that's what they call the fire. But anyway, yeah, no, I'll take that one though. But yeah, no, I'm great. How are you, Miss Lindsay? I've missed you guys, everybody. You know, we talk through social media, but it's great to hear everybody's voice.
Fuck yeah, the whole crew.
But yeah, like that.
Yeah, I feel like the last few weeks, if it wasn't health related, there hasn't been, I mean, for us anyway, there hasn't been a whole lot going on. And I know, Lindsay, you had health stuff and probably work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not so much with work. Like, I already was planning it, but once my health shit kicked off, I was like, man, no disrespect to anyone, but I was like, fuck y'all to all my white label clients. So any SEO agency I did SEO for, clip, done. Because that's where all my time is wasted and all the stress is trying to manage other people's schedules and other people's workloads. And your health will make you realize real quick what matters and what fucking doesn't. So I cut all those clients. And if you are on your path, I believe, as a spirituality nut job, the universe will provide. And already, like, I have made, I think, more money this month than any other month previously except one. So, yeah. And I was out in the hospital for 1 week. So, oh.
Well, there you go.
That's how you do it.
See, I need that kind of fucking luck, man.
It's coming to you. You're on your path. It's fucking coming.
Yeah, it just, for us, the light at the end of the tunnel doesn't seem to get any brighter every step. It just still seems like it's that far away. can't get to the end of it.
Then that's the way it sounds. It is brighter and growing brighter every step of the way. But maybe you just have another step added upon the journey.
Yeah, that's really what it is. There were and still are unexpected additional steps added to the journey.
You know, and that just makes it stronger and even more dope. What I was going to say is the hubby, I need you to get a clip. I don't know why I thought of, like, when we said what, you know, she had going on, and it's so dope that you should drop, "This is how we do," but just that part that I heard. I'm okay. I swear, yeah. But that's cute. I'm telling you, it's going to be fire when it goes into effect. Just trust.
Absolutely.
You should see how he's looking at you guys. He loves me so. Babe, how's school going for you?
Well, I'm on a break right now until the 11th. Class was fine. I took, for the first time in my life, I intentionally took a 0 because I needed to, for health-related reasons, not have to worry about a specific assignment, which sounds really weird, but whole story, you know. Yeah. So yeah, but I passed the class. Everything was fine. It was great. And, you know, next one starts on the 11th. And it's weird only taking one class at a time, but each class is like the accelerated version of a class. So it's like I'm 10 weeks, one class. Once I get through this next one, I might try and do 2 since I'm not working right now, depending on how much longer until we move.
So won't you just, get like 6 months and then go ahead and add that other one in there.
What?
I feel it. I'm the same way. I'm like, just do it. Just let's get them all knocked out. But
yeah,
no rush.
I know there's no rush. I don't know. I'm used to having way more pressure on me. And I know that sounds really fucking funny, but like my therapist is literally, I told her that I was looking at jobs in the new city just, because I wasn't sure how I was feeling about how long before I would try and get back into like a job kind of situation. She's like, don't get a job. Please don't get a job. And if you do, don't you dare work full time. Please don't get a job. I'm like, my therapist is begging me not to take a job right now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I thought I was doing better, but I guess I am, but I'm not. I don't know.
No.
Give her a cookie and be like, that's from my friend. She thinks that you are genius. No, like that's what I'm saying. Don't put too much on your plate when you don't have to.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying that as if I that advice, but
right.
Yeah. Life is throws us too much shit every single day for us to then on top of that put extra shit on that doesn't need. So you guys might be moving. We'll just work with one. All right, I think we agree. Good.
Yeah.
I got to get back in the pool because I really cussed University of Phoenix out. I was like, I'm never coming back. And then they listened to me and had somebody who actually has some common sense call me the other day.
Nice.
And we got down to, the problem, which is what I kind of figured. The other person just wanted to get her, her enrollment or whatever the fuck she gets credit for.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't even look at all of my transcripts and only gave me 15 credits when I have at least literally 5,000.
Literally. Wrong word.
Literally.
I understand. It's the same. Like, this isn't my first time trying grad school. My first try was with a school that had so little communication that when I started having a problem with the thing, like 3 weeks into it, I didn't hear from anyone until week 10.
Yep.
And I was like, fuck all of you. Like, first of all, this was a disability matter that they were not taken care of and were not I was so fucking pissed. So this was a few years ago. And I'm really happy with my choice of where I'm going now, but like, I'm still getting emails from this dumb bitch who was like, hey, can you recommend me to any of your friends? And I'm like, do you not remember who I am and what you fucking did to me and why I left?
Do you guys?
I mean, I don't know.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask if you wanted to talk about the Pea Hive or if you wanted to get into the episode, because I'm just looking at Dean and I feel like he's like, if y'all don't start talking about this episode. You don't know the Pea Hive? My husband.
No, I was actually going to mention the whole R. Kelly thing. But
the Pea Hive is people who still support R. Kelly and say like he's not guilty. Okay.
The ones. No, I had no idea.
The ones I didn't come up with it. Let me find her name. You guys start talking about it. I'll find her name because I need to credit this lady who came up with it. Like, it's not my thing, but she calls them the Pea Hive, and they're the ones playing the music outside every day. Yeah.
It's the only thing that I really wanted to kind of say about it was, I'm glad that there's a verdict now and that all of this is, able to, hopefully the people involved are able to move on with their lives. But like, if we go back and watch,
he's not being punished for.
No, he's not. He's not going to be punished for a lot of things, but the number of counts that he has been found guilty of, if every one of them has the minimum sentence applied, he would be in prison for the rest of his life.
He was found guilty of everything, I believe.
Yeah. So, but they haven't sentenced him yet, which they can give him the minimum, which would be, maybe a couple of years. But most likely what the prosecutors are calling for is that each sentence is compounded. So each guilty verdict has a separate sentence that has to be carried out. Right? Am I saying it right?
Yeah. You basically, instead of you serving the time altogether for each one, you serve
concurrently versus consecutively.
And then you serve the next one, and then you serve the next one. So if they gave him 10 years for all 11 charges, he would get 110 years.
Exactly. So, while it doesn't feel like everything that he should maybe have gotten, it still could come out to be a really significant sentence. So,
and let me shout out this blogger. Her name is The Plainest Jane. And I recommend her channel. She does wonderful news. She doesn't just do R. Kelly, but she's so entertaining. And she's the one who coined the Pea Hive. And
nice.
I feel like this R. Kelly shit, like I know we watched Surviving R. Kelly, but listening to her cover this trial, there are episodes of her show I have not even watched because I cannot. This man is more of a monster than anyone is acknowledging. And it is unreal. Yeah. It is unreal. Like, but I'll shut the fuck up on that. Y'all can go look that up yourselves. And he has.
I mean, you don't have to shut the fuck up about it. I know that I don't think that it's getting the coverage that like let's just go back to the last big one that I can think of off the top of my head. And I'm sure that there have been 100 between them, but like Michael Jackson,
mm-hmm.
I feel like when that was happening, it was such a circus that we knew, like, it didn't matter if you were paying attention, you knew what the fuck was happening with that trial. Whereas now, I don't know if just our society and our media culture as it is so focused on the divide between people that, you know what it is, that the big stories like that don't like make their way through as strongly.
They did what they thought they needed to do. He was in custody, he was in jail, and not a good sign of him being able to get out. So they're like, well, great, we got our example. Let's move on to the next one.
Right, honestly, right. They just kind of stopped talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a joke, and talked about the interview with what you call it, and made jokes. And once he was actually in there, and they pretty much made it seem like, no, we are making an example. This is a slam dunk. He will be in prison for a good portion of the rest of his life, if not the rest of it. Then people just kind of moved on, to the next, whoever they could cancel or whatever next.
Right. It's really interesting to me considering that this has been how many decades going on, and they're just like, just okay, now it's over. Let's move on. I'm really glad.
My issue with it is that there are so many still that have not been brought justice, but yet they want to concentrate, not trying to make him seem like he's an angel or anything. But where's Weinstein? Where's
he's in prison, isn't he?
Tons of
Weinstein's in prison.
Is he in prison now? Because last I heard he was not out, still faking because of his health, allegedly, and they hadn't put him in yet.
I mean, okay. Dean's looking it up now. I had not heard that.
He was convicted, but he had time. He didn't have to go right away. He might.
That happens to a lot of them,
but he didn't go right immediately after.
I mean,
when they have money, that's generally like you don't have to report.
Director, who just won the Oscar and came back to the country when he was not supposed to be here. Came back, accepted his Oscar, partied, and then got his ass back on the plane and went back to
Polanski.
So according to what it says, his criminal status is that he is incarcerated at Windy Correctional Facility, and he's awaiting a second trial in Los Angeles.
So I mean, what facility is that? Is even it's not Rikers.
Oh God, no!
It is a maximum security prison located in the town of Alden in Erie County, New York, east of Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Upstate.
So that's actually a state prison. That's not like a cushy country club.
Or Fed? Was it a state charge or Fed that he got convicted?
It's a supermax managed by the New York State Department of Corrections.
So state,
yeah. Upstate.
I don't think he had any federal crimes against him. Yeah.
It's just
it's I don't know who you were talking about in that specific example because I didn't hear about Polanski coming back or something.
Oh, he did. He totally did a few years ago.
He actually did step foot
and went to the Oscars. Yes. He accepted his award.
Party.
Or are we talking back in the day or are we talking recently?
Years
last year.
Shut up. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I knew he had done it back in the day, but that was why he moved to like France or fucking whatever. That when it comes to Polanski, that shit's been going on forever.
But my thing with R. Kelly is, though, if y'all look into this, and I tagged one of these podcasts I follow with Jim Clementi. We've talked about it before, me and Tiara, because I know you're true crime too. Like this man, the stuff I have heard in this trial, he is so much worse than we are acknowledging. And I know he was molested as a child, and that's horrible. And I do give empathy to that. But like the stuff he was doing is just making people eat shit. Ejaculating onto women's faces and refuse to allow them to wash it off. Like the stuff he was really doing is disturbing to a whole different level that is not being acknowledged and was not being exposed. Like Surviving R. Kelly,
Absolutely.
we didn't hear the half. Ridiculous. But we can move on. That's all I have to say about
crazy.
the Beehive.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to learn more about that.
Wasn't surprised when it came across my I didn't go, oh,
I
no,
wasn't
or
surprised either.
what? It wasn't like I was like, oh, okay. You know,
Making
my thing
people
was
eat.
I wasn't expecting it to be on racketeering and like, you know, I didn't expect it, but I knew they were going to get him. You know, just like, you know, going to get.
Well,
Nicki
you know,
Minaj's
the next one they need to do is get Jared Leto for the cult that he started, but instead they're going to keep giving him, you know, potential award-winning roles.
Yeah,
I mean, apparently it's not illegal to start a cult because look at the Catholic Church.
Ooh, no.
Look at the Republican Party.
Look at the Scientology.
well,
Scientology is not a cult. It is a religion.
Right.
Based on a sci-fi novel.
That has a lot of money
Based on a
involved,
cult.
and you move up based on your money, and you
Right.
live in it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Stop. You guys are hurting my feelings.
Just, you know, I mean, when the owner or the head guy, when his wife disappears for years.
It's been like 20 fucking years and she's still nowhere to be known. Yeah.
Because she started to speak against it. I will give it to Carrie. I know her name.
You're talking about Leah Remini?
Thank you so much. Leah Remini.
Yeah.
Yes. She was very, 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 very bold. Like, she came out and she was like, look, fuck you. I don't care. I'm going to tell my truth and I'm going to help everybody else that wants to as well.
Yeah. She's not the first one to do that, but she is the most high profile one.
Yeah, and I know she's not the first one, but yeah,
really
she
good.
took it to more than just like a book or like a talk show talking about it. Like she didn't shut up, you know?
Right. She's still not shutting up about it.
No, she's not. No, she's not.
Good
And
for her.
I love her. Still reminds me of her character on Saved by the Bell, though. But that's like half a summer when she was on there. But yeah. That's bold right there, though, because to be able to take on Hollywood, you know how easy Hollywood can ruin you, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But when you're best friends with J-Lo, I guess you're like, ruin me, homie. We're the best friend. Fired. But
Right.
they can move on. Random thoughts. There we go.
All right. Let's talk about some hood rat stuff with our friends.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So this episode, Smokin' with Cigarettes. Let's see. We begin with an interview with a 6-year-old Lemilton Tayshawn. Lemilton is being asked about why he behaves the way he does. He says it's because he likes to do bad things. This interview, I don't know if you picked up on all of the different like horror movie stuff that was peppered through this. Yeah. So before we actually get into it, I wanted to point out something that I don't think that Dean got in his notes, but in his trivia. But this episode originally aired on the 6th of June, and it was the 6th episode of the season for 666. And yeah, so was it in there? Okay. I didn't see that one. But anyway, so that opening scene is basically just like the interview in the beginning of The Ring. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't pick up.
So next we see Riley walking out to the street as an SUV runs up on him, almost running him over. We see that Lemilton is driving. Riley asks him where he got it. He stole it from his grandmother. Then we're back at the interview as it continues, interspersed with action of Lemilton and Riley. The interviewer asks him about the kinds of bad things he does. One of them is smokes with cigarettes. And then we see Lemilton offering Riley a cigarette, which Riley lights up tries to light up as Lemilton recklessly drives through the streets of Woodcrest. The interviewer tells Lemilton that smoking is bad for his lungs. Milton doesn't care. He likes being unhealthy and he likes hurting people. The ride continues as Lemilton drives through yards, crashing into trees and scaring everyone in sight. The interviewer asks Lemilton how he hurts people. He answers that he punches them in the face or the stomach or twists their arm until it breaks. And remember, this is a 6-year-old speaking as we're doing this interviewing, but an 8-year-old in the car with Riley. As the ride continues, the police start chasing them. Lemilton is excited to be in a high-speed chase with the police. The interviewer asks Lemilton how he feels about the people he's hurt. Lemilton doesn't care, not even if he had killed them. The ride finally ends with Lemilton crashing the SUV in the parking lot of a Wally Mart, I think was what it was in the episode. The interview ends with Lemilton being asked why he did bad things. The response, because it's fun. Yeah, so that's our introduction to this lovely little child.
And
I have so many feelings about this episode. in particular, like this is the episode that made me decide that I wanted to do the podcast, because kids like him are kids that I would know. So yeah, it's I got a lot. All right. So later that evening, Huey's on his laptop eating popcorn. We tried to get a clip of this, but it just didn't come through well. So while Riley is getting a spanking from Granddad, ending with Granddad telling him to think about how stupid he is. Riley, sobbing, comes downstairs to see Huey. He tells him that it didn't hurt.
No.
Didn't hurt. Huey closes his laptop and turns on the news, which is telling the story of the earlier events. Riley is envious of LaMilton blowing up over this. The story continues with an interview of LaMilton talking about he doesn't care if he almost hurts people, and with his grandmother excusing his behavior as all children his age love stealing cars. Huey asks Riley if he can't see that LaMilton is off, in quotation marks. Riley just says that Huey wants everyone to be normal and that they want to be abnormal. Oh, yeah. So I want to talk more in depth later as we get into this, but just that opening scene there were so many things in that. You know, the biggest one to me would be Grandma, especially saying, you know, kids love to steal cars. What? Okay. Like I've met parents like that, and
she was trying. You could tell, like she's done her job. She's raised her kids, but now you're put in a situation where you're trying to use your expertise of, you know, in raising kids, and then plus that's her grandbaby, and so grandbabies can't do any wrong. But I think for her, and in real life too, I think she was trying to take away the negative talk that he always received and replace that with but it's so like, you know, it's not a bad person. This is just what happens. So me watching it, I want to be like, Grandma, quit the cap, like quit. But then again, I get why, because our young Black men get so much of negative talk and detrimental, you know, talk to and limiting beliefs about what their life is going to be and how long they're going to live, that you don't want that in your home, and from somebody and that's probably the only love and security that he had was the relationship with. And, you know, it sucks that she's the one that the brunt of it, because he was a very angry child, obviously. Okay. But when you say things like, you know, he was a very angry child, like let's really talk about that for a second. So it comes up in a few minutes in the episode, but Grandma says that it was an abusive family, that when Dad lost his job, things got worse, that Mom was drinking for most of LaMilton's childhood, and basically, you know, going on and on, that he saw abuse over and over and over again. And like the idea of an 8-year-old psychopath, which is basically what the quote unquote therapist in this episode is trying to say, that, you know, he's a psychopath. Very, very, very rarely do children get that kind of a diagnosis, especially children who haven't gone through intensive therapy. And like where LaMilton is with the things that he has done, if, you know, those are the kids that I would work with, you know, the pre-shooting the dog part. Yeah.
You know, before he actually did any real violence. Those are absolutely kids that I've worked with. Those are, you know, the kids who are like, nothing matters, so I'm just going to do bad things because it's fun. I'm going to, you know.
Like they're already showing behavior of that being
But the behavior is just
diagnosis.
a cry that this is what I've seen. Yeah. That's the only thing that's going to get me attention, is if I'm an asshole and I act out and I do all these stupid, shitty things. And it's fun because I get attention and people want to look at me. And in this one in particular, like in the real life story that this is based on, this kid got like invited to MTV and invited to Comedy Central. And, you know, like he got validation for the shitty behavior that he learned from shitty people that traumatized the fuck out of him. Yeah. And it's absolutely no surprise that that kid is now in prison, you know? Yeah. I
feel bad for his grandma, because, you know, she was her ride or die, and she probably bailed him out and did this and did that. But she was already elderly, so you get tired, you know, and then there's nothing else that you can do. So I'm sure that was very difficult for her. And then that put a strain on the only consistent relationship that he probably knew. You know, And
right, because before the point that we're about to talk about, before that, he had never been physically violent to his grandmother. So, so we are. Let's get back into it. We are at the next day. LaMilton and his grandmother show up.
Damn it!
Who is it?
It's that damn crazy kid with some old woman. What do? I don't want that crazy little nigga in my house. Okay, think. Gotta stall for a plan. Who is it?
It's LaMilton and his grandmother, Mr. Freeman.
Shit, that didn't buy me no time.
Just see what they want, Granddad.
I don't care what they want. I don't want these crazy people in my life. Oh, this is so unfair. Why me? All right, 1 second.
LaMilton's grandmother forces their way in to apologize.
I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Freeman, but I know it was your grandson smoking with cigarettes in the car with LaMilton, and I just thought he should come over here and apologize for putting Riley in danger like that.
Oh, that's not really necessary.
Can we leave now?
Yes.
No. Now get in that house right now and get ready to start apologizing.
So this is where that grandmother basically just shoves her way into the house and doesn't listen to the fact that Granddad is like, I don't want you in my fucking house. But LaMilton recites the apology that he has obviously rehearsed with Grandma, even though he didn't really mean it.
Please, Mr. Freeman, LaMilton is not a bad child. I swear. He's an AB student. He helps me around the house. Most of the time, he's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
He just has some anger management issues, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when he was little, all he ever saw was domestic abuse between his mother and his father, his uncles, his aunties, his cousins. And I've just been trying to get him some help. And then when he was 5, I remember his mother was drinking heavily at the time. And his father had just been laid off from his job at Popeye. And there was a lot of tension in the house. He just wanted to have a little fun. I mean, he's a little boy. And sometimes they're going to get in trouble.
Okay.
Ugh. Okay, so this is what I was just talking about. About basically like this grandmother has obviously apologized for this child so much because she's very much like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and this happened, and you see these are all the things that made this kid into, you know, what you see. So you see, I'm trying to help him because all of these things have happened, but she's not actually trying to help him.
I think she's
like,
also at her wit's end, and then she wants to make sure that, look, it's not reflecting on me. I'm trying, you know? But I think it was also her way of reaching out to see if somebody else could help out. You know, he obviously needed like a male figure. So I think that was part of the reason why she was so adamant about let them continue to be friends because there's grandpa. You know what I'm saying? So, well,
and
sad.
also this is the scene where we find out that LaMilton doesn't have any friends, and Riley is probably the nicest kid he's ever hung out with. So like that right there tells you that, you know, grandma might be like desperate for what she thinks of as maybe a potential good influence to hang out with this kid.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad about that one.
Like to give him a sense of normalcy, you know, she's like trying to, and then maybe, you know, that will fix him, you know.
Well, and to be fair, in my classroom, it was a big deal when they would start to form friendships with each other, because a lot of the kids that are in that kind of situation don't have the social skills to make friends and to keep friends. Like you can obviously see with LaMilton, with the way that he tries to order Riley around and that sort of thing. But, you know, those kids, when they are lucky enough to have kind of a program like what we were doing at my school, you know, they're given a chance to learn how to have those conversations and how to be a friend and how to keep a friend and all of that shit. But like, I wonder, because they say later that LaMilton doesn't go to the same school as Riley.
Saying. He doesn't have that option. He's probably been kicked out of every school. So he doesn't have that.
Right. Like you wonder what kind of school program this kid is in. Like obviously if he was, it was a school counselor, right? That was the dude that was like,
he used to be,
stalking him.
And don't get me started on school counselors, because school counselors shouldn't be old white men that cannot relate to like you can't. And then what the first thing that they do is they go, oh, they're ADHD. No, you just don't know how to relate.
In this case, he's not human.
Yeah.
Also, well, the doctor's name is Dr. Dumas, which is a spoof off of Dr. Loomis, who is
from Halloween,
the psychologist from Halloween that worked with Michael Myers.
Okay,
right. I was definitely
and he automatically kept saying that he was like psychopath. And
Yep. Yeah. So
I did want to comment on this section though. Like this is one of the clips. I think me and T both picked this one. because I think to the grandma's defense, and there's two storylines going on here, right? So we have the Boondocks interpretation of Lamiltron or Lamatron, and then we have the real life sort of instance of what happened. Because I went back, because I'm not doing the work like T, but I have the same empathy towards children. I tried being a teacher, and it was too emotionally overwhelming for me.
Yeah, it's hell.
I recognize that. It's off the bat. I used to drink a lot when I taught because I just could not cope with what I had to go with. And this was for a lot of teachers.
Do you know how much I've drank since I quit?
Girl.
I still have open bottles from like 6 months ago. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure.
Look, my son wasn't a problem, but for my kindergarten son's teacher, I was like, "What do you drink?" And that's what I gave her at the end of the year. And she was like, "Alcohol, rubbing, or anything else." But no.
And it was just sadness, and for that moment of peace, because you think about these little fuckers all day long. All day long. You can be in the fucking shower and you'll just think like, damn, I wish that Jim, could figure out whatever's going on with his grandpa. Like for me, there was no escape. And I just recognized at that time, I cannot do this job. And I feel like, so the grandma in the show, what's lacking with her is that I do think they're trying to portray her as trying to teach this child accountability, which is so important and so underrated in forming functional adults. Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think even though Granddad was like, I don't want that. No worries. Just move on. Why she's like, get in the house and apologize, because accountability, no, you need to apologize. I was a shitty kid, y'all. Like, I was kind, and I like won like some peace ambassador award when I was like 4 or 5 years old and all that bullshit. But I have always had a vindictive heart. Luckily, for real,
Aries.
Yes, and I'm a Scorpio.
Learn how to deal with it. Elsewise, that is it. Like, that's why people say we're crazy. Don't fuck with us. Like, you fuck with us, you're until we learn how to deal with it better. But I'm with you, girl.
Yep, totally. And like, I used to do all kinds of shit because my siblings would do all kinds of fucked up shit to me, and I would sit there and do all kinds of fucked up shit. I would make plans. I never really got the chance to act them out, but I would make really fucked up plans. I had a diary that my mom found once. I got spanked for keeping this really vindictive, nasty diary of all my revenge plans, which included maps.
I think Dean has one of those.
An escape plan.
I'm like Arya fucking Stark. I got a list.
Or Stewie. You sound like Stewie. Like you just, wow.
Yes, like they would try and boss on me and I had a very dominating mom. So my siblings would try and dominate me, and I'd be like, oh, hell no, I will not be ran. But I had a mom who was smart in her parenting. I got spanked a lot. My siblings did not. My mom was not a good spanker, except for with me, because I was like, you don't run me. It's fun to do bad things. And it wasn't even bad things I was doing. It was just like, you're not going to run me. And she was like, I am going to run you. Like, this is a Southern household. I am going to run
you. Do not get it twisted, because you're trying to assert, your dominance and your own security, your own space, within your family. And I mean, your mom does sound like she was pretty damn good at knowing how to raise you versus, the other kids. But like you said, we have to be whooped, because we were like, look, whoop me. Good. I'm going to go ahead and do whatever I want.
Yep.
That hurts for a minute. I'm still going. Yes. So,
and I know
you're right.
You can't really. Now, this is the thing with the real grandma. And like I said, there's a real life story that goes on here, because after watching this episode, I went and watched like the real life story just to understand more. And like the real life grandma, they interview her on TV, and she says, if I was still allowed to, I would whoop his butt. Like, I want to whoop him.
Yep. I would take him home and whoop his butt. Yep.
And she can't do that because you can't whoop your kids anymore, y'all. Okay. That's not allowed.
Well, and that boy was big.
Yeah.
Maybe she should, if he was younger, and she would have started then, but we don't know when he got him, blah, blah, when she got him or whatever. But now you ran the risk.
My guess is that it was after that incident that made the news.
Plus, kids will pick up the phone in a heartbeat, which makes me want to whoop him even more and try and call somebody.
I used to threaten it. I used to be like, I'll go call my dad. I'm moving in with my dad. I'll show you. And my mom would be like, she'd go get the phone and be like, call him.
Girl, you would look. I would have given you a garbage bag and been like,
She'd be like,
off. Like, okay.
Yes, because she'd be like, do you think if that man wanted you, wouldn't he be here? Like, my mom did not play with me, and it was needed. Like, to hear this, it probably sounds like cruel and twisted. I am glad for every ass whooping I got, because if I did not, I would be like this child. I'm not kidding. Like, she was not featuring me, and I needed to not be featured. I needed to be spanked. I needed to be put in my place. Yep.
No, let Lindsay.
Yeah. Oh, for real. For real. But like, so the grandma, I think real life, and I don't know, we can talk about this at the very end of the episode, because how this whole thing ends in real life to me is also heartbreaking and sad, but you're kind of like, hey, I mean, I see it. But like, so I think it gets into like this whole, not only the importance of accountability and how he's apologizing. One, I hate apologies from people who don't fucking mean it. Spare me.
And he didn't even try to sound like he mean it. He reciting the shit, just regurgitate.
Yep, because you told me to do it. I do think it's important to still make kids do it. I do think that's important. But like how he said, like, even though I don't mean it, I don't know about you guys. I used to get put in timeout. I would rather take the spanking. Spank me, but don't put me in fucking timeout. Spank me so I can get on with my life. Nope. My mom, because she knew me. My siblings were not raised like I was raised. So I used to have to sit in timeout near my mom. Like, it had to be somewhere she could see me. Go sit on the stairs. You're in timeout. And then she would have a conversation with me about like, do you understand why you're in the situation you're in? Do you understand what you did? And sometimes I would try and bullshit her. Yeah, totally. I hurt my sister's feelings. Like, how? Oh yeah, I just did something bad. And she would sit there and she would rationalize with me, and I could apologize and I could say everything I thought was the right thing. And she'd be like, you're not sorry. You have a nasty attitude. You have a nasty soul right now. I will always love you, but I do not like who you are at this moment. And then she would just leave me in timeout until I could kind of get my shit. I don't know. I think my mom taught me empathy. To be honest.
Sound like she did great. She had patience, first of all. I'm sure she wanted to tail a lot, but she had patience, and then she took the time to talk it out with you. I see my mind didn't whoop me and then be like, you deserved it now. Shut up.
Yeah.
And go somewhere.
See, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
I don't want to talk. God.
Expedite this. Yeah. Like, I don't want to do this shit.
Full house. I don't give a shit. I don't even talk. But yeah. But that's what you're saying. It means so much, because for grandparents who end up being parents, for whatever reason, it's kind of hard for them to pivot and change and adjust to the current times and how to raise their kid. And I'm sure it's confusing for them as well, because like she says, I can't whoop them. And back in the day, that's what she would have did. She would have whooped them. The neighbor would have whooped them. Yep. They would have sent them down the street. The other neighbor would have had them pick their switch and they would have whooped them.
Yep.
But can't do that now. You would still whoop them at the end of the day.
Yes. Well, that's something my mom told me too. And this is the last point I have to say on this is, like, I asked her, like, do you feel bad? Because my mom spanked me too much at points. She did take it too far at times. I'm not trying to call my mommy out on this show. She's an amazing mom. But like, it got too out of control at times. Like, I once almost got a spanking because I couldn't iron up a crease properly in a pair of pants, honest to God. And like, my brother stepped in at that time and was said to her, like, I need you to take a minute. And my brother was 15 and he's like, I need you to take a minute. You're doing too much. Please just take a minute. And I don't know what happened in that moment. That was the last spanking I ever got. But my mom just said to him, like, I have the kids here. You don't. And then she just started crying and she left the room. Never got spanked again. That was it. That was the end of it.
That's because your mom realized she was hitting you out of anger.
And it was done.
Like, that's what, it was, I can't do this again because it has become a thing that I just did in anger. And I can understand that panic too. That's probably like the bursting into tears because, oh my God, what I'm doing is not actually doing what I'd hoped it would do. Like, my intention wasn't to hurt. My intention was to teach. And I'm not teaching in this moment. I'm hurting in this moment.
For sure.
So. And I'm sure and hearing it from her child and a 15-year-old was, made her go, oh shit, wait, whoa. And because as parents, you deep down feel that, like, when you may be failing, but you also feel like this is all that I can do. So that's probably where she had gotten to, like, nope, this is just how she has to be punished. But there also had to be a time when it changed. Like, my dad used to just pop off and, his big ass hand. But then you could not do that because guess what? I had to go out in public. And then, just the certain things like that, like whatever discipline you thought you were giving me, it could end up being much worse just because you weren't in control of your emotions or, whatever.
Totally. And I'll close it out here. But like I say, I am thankful for the way I was raised. I do not judge my mom in any capacity. And again, like you were just saying, MJ, it was a Southern family. So if I acted up, my aunties, my cousins, you are allowed to get spanked by every fucking person who outranked you in that family. That's how it went. That's a Southern family. I don't regret it at all. And like I talked to my mom about it as an adult, as many people do, some people don't. And my mom said to me, it was a nature versus nurture thing. You really had this attitude of nobody is going to run me. And I had to teach you there are repercussions for acting up in this world. You don't run shit. You are a child. And I'm grateful for that. Now, granted, there are kids who can get spanked and turn out okay. And there are kids who can get spanked and it just adds up to nothing. Like it shouldn't be done. So
because you're jumping the ball, that's the only parenting that somebody thinks is necessary. And it's not. You know, there's so many other aspects to it. So that's when it does it. I'll say, look, I used to get whoopings. And I said that definitely allowed me to know what role you were supposed to play and how to respect other people and, shit like that. Like my children don't, but that's just because we choose to do things a little differently, to communicate more, and then my children don't like us to be disappointed. So we could really just say, I'm disappointed in you. And that's enough, but once again,
that's
I'm
what my parents did for me.
changed, it's just so, but, yeah, look, there was definitely some times when I was like, oh, that belt was deserved.
Yep. Same.
So,
all right, I'm done with it, guys. I'm sorry. This was a big one for me. Accountability.
No, yeah, I get it. Yeah. All right. So, Granddad, at the end of that, Granddad said that everything's fine, but kicks him out of the house as fast as he can. When Riley asked him if they really meant that he can actually still be friends with LaMilton, Granddad said, no, hell no. So then the news breaks with another story about LaMilton. When his grandmother wouldn't buy him some fried chicken, he beat her up. She excuses his behavior.
You have to understand, he really likes that fried chicken.
Riley and LaMilton are walking down the street talking about him being on the news, and Riley's impressed that, he was still himself when talking to them. He didn't he didn't back down or anything. LaMilton says he's going to be a superstar. Riley is impressed and tells LaMilton that he still wants to hang out with them, even though Granddad said that he couldn't. They decide that they're going to go have some more fun. And as the boys run off, we see a man hiding behind a tree watching them. Do. And every time we see this man, we start to hear that Halloween theme of like a couple of like really high notes played over and over again, right? Yeah. Oh yeah. The Omen style singing, which happens later. That happens a little later.
You guys are pointing that out, but I was not thinking at all. But yeah,
it's easy when you devour horror movies, like it's like it's your soap operas. Like right now, what am I doing while I'm going through my house? I'm watching horror movies, and some of them are really, really fucking bad. Like I'll just go to Netflix and I'll go, okay, what do you got for me today?
Yeah, what craziness.
So next we have a montage of LaMilton and Riley doing bad things. They throw trash off bridges. They put a super soaker full of urine and hot sauce and do drive-bys. They throw a baby doll off the bridge, causing a huge accident. They knock over a porta potty with a construction worker inside. They throw a flaming mattress off a bridge onto off the overpass. And, nothing really seems to be happening to them because of this. Nobody is seen chasing them or anything, which I find really interesting that they're doing all of these things, especially causing multiple car accidents, and nothing seems to be happening. And this is where, as a teacher, I would be like, I know exactly where this kid needs to be, and it's a residential center where they will get like intensive therapy and school and not be able to run around and do the things that are going to get someone killed. Because like you throw something off an overpass, you are taking the chance that the person down below you is going to safely be able to stop, and then every person behind them is going to safely be able to stop. So you are potentially causing someone's death. That's a thing.
I'm pretty sure that's another real life case too. Like there were kids.
Oh yeah.
Who went to prison over that.
The mattress one, throwing the mattress off burning mattress off an overpass,
and
was something that I know was what was that? It
was like rocks. They kept getting bigger and bigger, and they just do like a boulder, and it went through the windshield.
Yeah. So after all of that Riley's getting tired and basically he's kind of just overdoing bad stuff for a little while and says he wants to go home. But Milton gets really upset about it and kind of yells at him and then backs off and he's like, no, really, let's just go back to my place and we'll play video games. It's no big deal. So right here we see a moment where Milton is basically, again, I watched this. I cannot not watch this episode without my teacher eye on, and I say teacher eye, not like with academics. I mean, with like the social emotional learning aspect of it. And like what I saw in that moment was a kid that like desperately wanted anybody to just be with him. Like, no, we don't have to do bad shit. Let's just hang out with me. Yeah. I don't want to be alone. And that's just like, in real life, when that kind of thing happens, your heart breaks. You're like, oh, baby.
Yeah, it was bad.
So the man who was hiding behind the tree earlier is now knocking on the door to the Freeman home. He introduces himself as Dr. Dumas, a school counselor from Point Pleasant Elementary. Now, I did look up, I tried to figure out if there was a specific reason for Point Pleasant Elementary. I could only find a Point Pleasant in... So there's one in New Jersey and one in West Virginia. I'm guessing it would be the New Jersey one because we're assuming that this is in the Northeast. But I couldn't find like a horror movie connection with that. Dean's doing a quick look to see if he can find something I missed. But yeah, there's always so many like intentional things when he actually named a school. I was like, okay, that's got to mean something, right? So yeah, might figure that out later.
Everything that they
Dr.
do is
Dumas.
so, I don't want to say calculated, but it has meaning.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, they'll be ambiguous about, there will be no specifics on where a character is from or whatever. But like with this, when they said an actual name of a school, I was like, okay, I feel like that's like with the lot combination that ended up being the years that Thurgood Marshall was in the Supreme Court. Like there's always, there's something, but it might not be an actual Easter egg.
Something about the Mothman prophecies.
Okay, that makes sense. Some
events that occurred between November 1966 and December 1967 in Point Pleasant.
As soon as you said Mothman, I realized that's the New Jersey one, isn't it? That's why I know that from Point Pleasant, though. West Virginia. Okay. Cool. So, he went to the Mothman prophecy school. So he explains to Robert and Huey how bad Milton is, basically telling him he thinks that Milton is the Antichrist. They decide that they have to kill Milton because that's what you have to do. It's just the most ridiculous thing. Okay, I'm going to believe you that this kid isn't human. How do I kill it? No.
Right. Yeah.
Huey is hesitant to kill Milton over something he might do. Dumas explains how they won't even lock him up until an innocent person gets hurt first. Granddad explains how Riley has been banned from seeing Milton, but Dumas informs him that he just saw the boys together. Yeah, so we don't yet know this fact, but like this conversation right here, if in real life, would scream so loud to me about the red flags. It wouldn't. I just. Yeah, he's not human. He's the Antichrist. He must be stopped. He must die. Like, okay, dude.
And he was so just resolute about it. Like, this is it.
Right? He knew after a year that, like, no, that's when you have a kid as traumatized as this obvious kid is, it's gonna take so long to unravel all that shit. But he needs actual work on it, which he's not getting. Yeah. Like the kids that I meet that are at that level are the ones who are in a residential treatment center. They're somewhere where they live and sleep on property with nurses and doctors constantly, because they need to figure out what and unravel whatever that trauma is before it gets to a point where, they're 12, 14, 16 and being charged as an adult.
I feel like though this is representational kind of media.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
That this kid is representing narcissists in your life and sociopaths in your life. And nature versus nurture. I know that's an argument we could talk about until 10 o'clock tomorrow. So I won't totally open that box. But like I am a firm believer, listening to all this true crime that I listen to, that serial killers and sociopaths and not sociopaths, I shouldn't judge them that way, but psychopaths and stuff, I do believe most of them are made I do believe it's like society failed them. And at some point or another, some adult or somebody should have stepped in and helped you out, and they did not. And I think that's what we're getting at. But I don't know. I think like the switch flips at different times for people. And I think later on in the show, we're going to get into kind of the psychopath, narcissist kind of situation. So I'll show.
Yeah, I wouldn't, in this situation, I wouldn't say, I would be a little hesitant to say narcissism plays into it. I think that, I mean, it's definitely exaggerated, but I mean, even this real life kid, there's so much fucking trauma there, and they were never taught that basically that empathy part, they were never taught what that feeling is and how to nurture it. And like, when I first started doing this job, I would joke with people that my nickname should be Jiminy Cricket, because I was teaching these kids how to have a conscience. You know, I was teaching them how to understand how other people felt and how to be able to, you know, think about how the other person would feel. Like and it wasn't because they were psychopathic. It was literally because they didn't have the tools to do it naturally, which a lot of kids who are neurodivergent or have a lot of trauma, they have lost that ability to do it naturally, and they have to literally be step by step walked through it while getting other intensive, you know, therapy resources. Like, that's what this kid needed. And that was not what this kid in real life got, and is not what this kid in this show is getting.
It's the dog scene for me that sealed the deal.
Yeah,
but
that changes things.
We'll get into
for sure.
Later. Yep.
For sure. So this is the part where, like, we're about to talk about the part that like really got me to go, okay, this is kid that I know. So at LaMilton's house, the boys are watching a horror movie. Just like a really, really graphic, bloody horror movie this 8-year-old has probably seen multiple times because they're very blasé about it. So that's number one. Riley asks him why he watches those movies. LaMilton says it's because he likes watching people get hurt because it looks like fun. Riley gets up to leave, but LaMilton tells him to wait because he wants to show him something. LaMilton comes back in with a semi-automatic handgun and points it right at him. Riley is nervous and tells LaMilton to be careful where he's pointing it. LaMilton says that they can do whatever they want now and that they should go. Riley says that he wants to go home, but LaMilton said, I said, let's go. Basically threatening him and saying, you're coming with me. Back at the Freeman house, Granddad is pacing and looking at his watch. He starts ranting about how LaMilton needs to be out of their lives for good. I feel like I missed something here. Actually, let's hold on a second. So he gets the gun. He says, his grandma has it for in case of burglars, and says, don't touch it. So I touched it. Like, I had a kid, very, very similar situation, that knew very well where the gun in the house was and told me every day that he knew where it was and told me exactly where it was. And, you know, basically like, I'm not allowed to touch it, but I do, kind of a situation. That's so not uncommon. If you have a gun in any way in your house and you have any, I don't want to say any minor children, because you can teach your child the right way to use and handle and respect guns. But it needs, like, we have no minors living in our house, and our guns and our bullets are in two separate places, and you need to unlock one thing to get to the other. And like if it's out so easy that he can just reach up and get it just because, you know, he wants to, you are doing something wrong, period, as an adult. So that's my opinion on the gun thing anyway. So when Riley shows up later, he comes in basically saying, you know, I should punish myself. I might even whoop myself. I'm just going to go to bed. Right as Granddad is getting mad at him, he's just confessing to all this stuff and saying, you know, no, I just need to go. So the next day, and he also says, yeah, maybe I shouldn't hang out with LaMilton anymore. Basically saying he's kind of scary, so I really should stay away from him. The next day, Riley is walking on the sidewalk, walks past a tree, and LaMilton is waiting there for him. Asks him where he's been. Riley says he's been busy. LaMilton wants to hang out and do bad things. Riley says that Granddad won't let him. LaMilton shows Riley the gun and makes him go with him. They end up at the Von Hausen house, which is the crazy old lady with all of the guns from a previous episode. Milton wants to rob that house. Riley is not into it. Just then, a German Shepherd jumps out and startles Riley so much that he falls over. Milton pulls his gun and points it at the dog. As Riley starts to run away, the gun goes off. Riley runs back and sees the dog down and tells the Miltons they have to go. Now, there's a clip that we're going to do in a second, but before we do that, I do want to say that there is never any official thing that says that the dog dies. Everything refers to Milton as having shot the dog. It doesn't say having killed the dog. So technically, we cannot say that the dog is dead. We do not see the dog get up after that. So it is assumed, but I'm just for clarifying sake, because I have to look at doesthedogdie.com all the time. There's no proof that this dog is dead.
For me, though,
so then
did we do this? Did we do this clip of the dog?
But we're about to.
Okay,
we're about to right now. Okay.
What you shoot the dog for? Hey, he got loose. He was about to bite me. You lying? He was chained up. Man, you sick.
So this is the part where Riley finally realizes that it's just not fun to do the bad things that Milton thinks is fun to do. Like, it was all fun and games until the gun. And then it was like, and then when the gun was used, he was done.
And I think...
So what did you want to say?
Yeah, like, kids do fucked up shit. I will never take that away from a child. And I will never judge a person, adult or child, for doing fucked up shit. People, you're a human being. You make mistakes. That's what people do. Okay? Like, no one has the right to judge anyone. Shut the fuck up and, have some empathy. But it's when the line starts. So I think I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not pursuing any study of psychiatry, psychology. I just watch a lot of true crime. And I have had my own interactions with people in life. And I had my own situations where someone told me, honey, you're dealing with a narcissist. And this is why that person told me, honey, you're dealing with a narcissist, is this scene right here. It's the lying. It's the instant. You literally just shot a living creature. And without missing a beat of your heart or anything, oh my God, he was coming at me and he's doing this and he's doing that. Ding, 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 ding. And I again, a lot of people have narcissistic traits that are not narcissists, but that is some narc shit. It is that right there. That is some psychopathic shit that you instantly flip reality to fit the fucked up narrative because you wanted to do something. Oh, and we'll get into it again later because you have anger issues. It justifies you hurting a living creature without, this dog did nothing to you but bark. Okay. He was chained up, but you shot it and you killed it. Okay. Again, a child, an 8-year-old or 7-year-old, whichever he is. And okay, we get it. And we'll give you your trauma and we'll try and understand and we'll try and empathize. But it's that instant lie where I say like, okay, we're done here. We're done here. You're a narc or you're a psychopath. And I'm not saying narcissists and psychopaths don't deserve empathy. I think they do. Again, I am of the school of thought that they are made. I really am. Like, someone should have intervened in your life at some point prior to where you got where you are. And I think that point probably differs person by person, honest to God. But that's the moment where I was like, nope, my empathy may still exist. I may still feel for you. But the logic is now, as an empathic, quote unquote, person, my logic has learned to serve as my defense mechanism. So when I can start to logically see the point at which you are a dangerous individual, for me, with this character, yes, it's make believe, it was the dog scene. I cannot be near you, around you, whatever you're going through. Good luck, bud. I'm out. Do not contact me. Do not talk to me. As Riley keeps saying, stay away from me, man. That's where we are now. Okay. Because this is it.
And I would agree that if I was not talking about this from a clinical point of view, I would say the same thing. Like, if this was somebody that if this was a kid in my neighborhood and they were doing all of this stuff, I would hope that, we would all be able to steer clear of this kid. If it was a kid that I'm working with, it's a whole different story. And I can see the things in kids that I don't work with, obviously. But if it's some kid in the neighborhood doing the thing, I don't know all of the trauma in their background. I don't know all of the things that led to that. I just know logically that their behavior is telling me that there is something there that fucked them up. And when I have a kid like Milton in front of me, it literally is just, it's months of creating a relationship and building trust and getting them to understand that you are not an enemy. And that amount of work right there is not something that can be done by a parent when it's a kid like this, when it's a situation like this. That grandma's never going to be the one that can can help that kid by herself. And, you know, the situation being what it is, it feels like, and in real life, we know that this kid never got the intervention that they needed. It was just one excuse after another, which is why I kept wanting to have the grandma excusing him thing.
Oh, totally.
You know?
And listen, I'm not like, I would never take that away from you ever or have any commentary on it at all because you do the work. I
wouldn't want my kids to play with them. I'm just saying that. Like, I'm not in any way excusing any of the behavior. Like, yeah.
As someone,
I have never had a kid that in my class that killed another animal in the time that I worked with them. But I definitely worked with kids where it was, do they have access to small animals? Should we talk about this?
Are they peeing in the bed? Are they setting fires? And I'm not even going to try and take it to that true crime, quote unquote, triad, whatever bullshit. Just as somebody who I do consider myself an empath, I know a lot of people hate that shit. I don't give a fuck because I'm the one who had to grow up with that trauma that comes with absorbing other people's bullshit and having to learn I'm really not upset. Jake is upset and I just am feeling whatever Jake is feeling and feeling responsible for whatever Jake is feeling and having to sort through that, all that bullshit. Okay, I did my work. And again, I had a mom who forced me to do that work and kind of pick shit up. So I'm just saying, like, as an empathic person, and again, you're doing the work. So that's why I say, like, okay, I'm not, you know what I mean? I wouldn't challenge you on anything there.
It's totally different.
Totally different. But if you don't have the tools to do that work, this is the moment where you have to say, I need to distance myself from you. And I know we're going to kind of get into this again later on.
All right. So Riley tells LaMilton that he's sick for needlessly killing a dog and that he doesn't want to hang out with him anymore. As LaMilton walks away, we see Dr. Dumas watching from behind the tree. I keep wanting to say Dr. Loomis because, you know, the actual movie. At home, Granddad is watching the news.
LaMilton Tashawn was apprehended today for shooting a Woodcrest resident's dog.
Yeah, boy, they got him. They finally got him, boys. Come quick. He shot Betty Von Hausen's dog. Oh, I always hated that dog.
Even though he's only 8 years old, police decided to arrest LaMilton so they can get him into the system and get him the help he so desperately needs.
He's in the system. Oh, how I love the system. Let's hope they keep his ass in the system forever. Woo! My tax dollars hard at work. Woo! That's some good news. Good news. System, stay in the system. System, stay in the system.
Yeah. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to grab that clip is just first off, the kid being in the system now means that they're not going to get what they need. Like when the reporter says, you know, the cops arrested him so he can get the help he needs. No, that's not what's going to fucking happen. Like if this was the real story, he'd be going to jail. He's not going to counseling. He's not going to therapy. Like if he's lucky, he would go to a place like we have a place called Ryther here, which is a therapeutic residential center for under 18 kids. And actually, I think it's closed now because of right before the pandemic, it all closed down. But I think that would be the kind of place that a kid like this would need to go. But what's happening in this situation is juvie. So then at school, Riley is sitting in his math class and he's bored out of his mind. He looks out the window and sees LaMilton. This is another scene reminiscent of a horror movie. I believe this was like a Michael Myers kind of reference because there were a lot of times when he would be standing kind of next to or behind a tree. And then, and yeah, anyway. Sorry, Dean's trying to, I don't have my glasses on. What did I skip?
After the quote.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Riley walks outside and is immediately confronted by Dumas. He tells Riley that that he was the one that told the police that LaMilton shot the dog. But he had to do it anonymously because Grandma has a restraining order against him. Do not contact. Riley is concerned that LaMilton is going to think that he snitched. Dumas tells Riley that now that LaMilton is in the system, he has no chance of getting out. Then we're at school and Riley is bored in math class and he looks out the window and sees LaMilton standing there. I believe he was smoking a cigarette, right? No, I know he does later. He points him out to the teacher, but when the teacher looks, LaMilton is gone. Riley gets sent to detention because he swore in class. Then we get from a phone booth from Dumas calling Granddad.
Mr. Freeman, I have terrible news. They've let him go.
Who? LaMilton?
Yes.
Well, I thought he was in the system.
The fools let him go.
He's out of the system? Oh, no! Huey, he's out of the system! Grab my shotgun!
They said they didn't have enough evidence to hold him.
Granddad, what's going on?
LaMilton and Tayshaun escaped. Go grab my pistol with the silver bullets.
He's not a werewolf, Granddad. Shh.
So they released LaMilton for lack of evidence because all they had was this dude's word anonymously that LaMilton was the one that shot the dog. I picked this clip both because of the the Halloween and because Granddad's overreaction and like get the silver bullets and get a steak and like the garlic. Granddad was easily convinced that LaMilton is not human, and I think that just says something.
And Granddad's old school too, like y'all. I mean, as women, and especially as women of color, but as women in general, and it's not just for women. The system in these cases does not work. It does not protect you. That is a well-known fact. Crime. If you take a restraining order out against a motherfucker, you better start taking some martial arts, and you might want to consider a license to carry and many other things, because the system is not going to protect you down to the wire. That is the sad fact. I'm sorry.
But in this situation, LaMilton is the one who has a protection order against the counselor. So
yes.
Then we are at the school. Riley is putting his book away in his locker. As he closes it, LaMilton is standing right there, smoking a cigarette. He asks Riley why he told on them. Riley says that he didn't because he's not a snitch, but he didn't think it was funny. He tells LaMilton to stay away from him because he's crazy and needs help. LaMilton slams Riley against the lockers. Riley sees how dire the situation is, pretends that everything is okay and that they can go do whatever LaMilton wants to do. LaMilton starts to walk off with Riley following. This whole time, LaMilton's got the gun in his hand. Riley decides to tackle LaMilton from behind, which knocks the gun out of his hand. Riley grabs the gun and runs off, heading for the roof of the school. Riley throws the gun off the roof and turns to face LaMilton. LaMilton punches Riley and they begin to fight. LaMilton pins Riley and starts to choke him. Just then, Ruckus walks out because, of course, he's ready to break up the fight. And then when he sees it's two black kids fighting, he leaves them, telling them to proceed. So that was our Ruckus moment of the episode. Riley uses the distraction to punch LaMilton and get away. While LaMilton gets up, the fight continues with Riley besting LaMilton, causing LaMilton to fall over the ledge of the school. Side note, just putting this in there, Riley won this fight. First fight, he's won. Woohoo! As LaMilton is falling, Riley grabs his arm and...
Riley, pull me up! I'm trying, but you're really fat. Riley, don't drop me. I'm sorry I tried to kill you. I have problems with my anger. You got problems with your weight, too.
Boy!
Granddad! Guys, help me.
I'm coming!
Help me get him up.
No, you must let him die.
So Riley is trying to pull him up, but LaMilton is just too big for little scrawny Riley to do on his own. And Dumas basically forces Riley to let LaMilton go, saying that he needs to die. LaMilton falls to the ground below. I wish that this would have worked as a clip because this was probably my favorite part of the whole episode, where Granddad looks over the edge and he's like, oh, he's gone. And then he looks over and he's like, oh, there he is. And he's walking away, which of course freaks out Dumas because the kid just fell off the top of the school. So then Dumas jumps from the roof down on top of LaMilton. As they scuffle on the ground, the Freeman family decide it's time to head home. And this is there was a line, LaMilton screams out, "Someone call my grandmother. You aren't even supposed to be within 100 yards of me." Like as Dumas is beating him, the kid is like, "You ain't supposed to be doing this."
Using the law to his advantage.
Yep. Yeah, this when I first saw, I don't remember seeing this episode if I don't remember seeing much of the third season when this was like live. I definitely don't remember this. What I think of as my first time seeing this was last year when we rewatched the show from the beginning before we decided to do the podcast. And yeah, I think the reason for me that I decided that I wanted to do this podcast was not just because seeing this episode and like feeling like, oh, I recognize this situation and I can really like talk about this, but also because, when you have a situation like this, all of the stuff that we've heard about Lemilton is basically what you hear when something like this happens. You hear about, the terrible shit. You don't hear about that it's a fucking 8-year-old kid. An 8-year-old kid is not set in their ways. An 8-year-old kid is not, has not learned right from wrong in a concrete sense. They don't even understand death and life in a concrete sense yet. And, this is a kid who basically, because they were embraced as a hoodlum, is now an adult with a prison record, and it just, because that is the way that Magruder tied both real life with the story, the actual story, and, kind of fantasy and kind of turning it into, the guns in schools stuff, that there were no adults that followed them when Riley knocked a gun out of this kid's hand, grabbed the gun and ran away. Nobody did anything. Then we saw white adults in this school getting knocked over as they ran down the hallway. So like the way Magruder was like looking at this, just, it blows me away. All the little tiny things that I saw in it as somebody who works with these kids. And, it's always sad to me because it was definitely brought up, Grandma saying about the trauma that the kid had experienced, but that's really the only way that is shown in this was, just when Grandma was justifying it. Like, we didn't see a vulnerable kid. We didn't see any kind of vulnerability. And no matter how blank and angry these kids are, I have never met a kid that I didn't see an emotion beneath what they were doing. So in reality, like the kid that I saw interviewed on the interviews on YouTube and stuff, he looked kind of scared, but also big eyes, like you're paying attention to me. So I'm going to make a joke here, or something. Whereas, if this had been real life and there hadn't been cameras in his face, it would have been a totally different thing. So knowing that this was a real story and knowing kids just like this really made me want to talk about it more. So that's why this episode has really stuck out for me. Not my favorite episode, but definitely one that pulled me in the most.
For sure. We're definitely in the territory that I don't remember either. Like, I remember Jimmy Rebel. I do remember that. But like the rest of this stuff is new to me. This was my first time watching. Again, it reminded me a lot of trauma in my own life of dealing with people and their bullshit. But like what I thought took that end scene as, and it reminded me of The Lion King. That's how, like I said, weird I am, y'all. Like, I saw like Simba and Scar in that fight with the whole Pride Rock, and when Scar's like dangling, Simba, please have mercy. Yeah, that's what I took from it. Like, but when it comes to like psychopathic, let me not even go there, like putting labels on it that I don't have the knowledge to put. When it comes to people in your life who are trying to hurt you, and I don't give a fuck how they're trying to hurt you. I don't give a fuck the reasoning, the justification. I am that bitch people call and say, Tammy called me and I haven't spoke to her in 3 years and she asked me for $500. And I am that friend who says, if you don't hang up that fucking phone and if you don't ever mention Tammy's name to me again, I will fist fight you. Because if someone is trying to hurt you, they have no place in your life. And I don't want to hear about empathy or sympathy or whatever you're feeling for them or whatever, because I've been there and I get it. Okay, I understand sympathy and empathy and all that kind of shit. Let those motherfuckers go. If someone is trying to hurt you, they have no place in your life. Let them go find other resources. If it's a child, and I mean it, if it's a fucking child, there are people like Tiara in the world to help them out. Not you, who is not equipped to handle the situation. Let them go. Let them, quote unquote, die. Don't fucking really let them die. But send them where they need to be if it's your child, and then get the fuck away, because you're doing more damage either enabling them or, letting them get away with their bullshit than you are by trying to do what you think is loving and caring. Like, get the fuck out of here. And that's what I have to say on it.
Probably one of the hardest decisions any parent has is realizing that they don't have the tools to help the child that they are trying to help. But one of the bravest things you could do as a parent is admit that you don't have the tools to help the child that needs in the way that they need help. So it is not your job to, it is your job to make sure that the tools are found and provided. It is not necessarily your job to be the one to provide the tools, because you might not have them yourself. So like, I have the tools where I'm okay being spit on and punched and yelled at until they realize that I'm not going anywhere and they give up and start talking to me. I have the patience and the time for that, for these kids. Someone else might have the patience and time to sit in front of a computer for hours at a time. I can't do that. I don't have the patience and the time for most adults, honestly. But traumatized kids, I can see that there is something behind it, and I want to find out what that something is so I can help them get through it. Are we ready for our white people question?
Welcome to Stupid White People Questions.
You mean I'm gonna stay this color?
Welcome back, everyone, to Stupid White People Questions. Actually, today's question is not really a question. It's more of a situation that apparently comes up quite a bit, and it is from a gal named Shakayla Brienne on TikTok. And what I've done is I've grabbed the recording from her video so that y'all can listen to it and share your experiences. So here you go.
I've been at my job for 12 years, and for 6 of those years, I was the only black person. Yet every day, a regular white person asks me if I'm brand new. It's almost like I look like a bunch of black people at once.
I'm every nigga, they're all in me. Hey, yo, I ain't mean it like that, baby.
I'm going to be singing that song.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah. I have often been one of 2 black people that people would know and would like, especially in Derby. Didn't happen so much in work because I've always worked with kids, and that tends to be a kind of job where you see more maybe minorities than white people in childcare anyway. But yeah, in Derby, there was, when I would go travel to somewhere like, say, San Francisco, I would get mistaken for somebody who was on a neighbor team of mine. So I would be in San Francisco and they would think that I was somebody from Bremerton instead of me. And the other way around, she would get that too. She would be somewhere for Derby and that people would think that it was me. We didn't look anything alike. We just were 2 mixed black girls who were short and lived in the Northwest.
Well, there you go. That's what it is. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, gosh, that's enough.
Like, we used to actually, we talked about having shirts made with each other's name on it and saying like, mine would say not Mai Tai and hers would have said not red.
Totally. Yeah. And it confused the shit out of them. They'd be like, what is that, gang? Oh, that's so cute. Yeah. So when I worked in call centers, when there was a lot more of just young black people, I definitely got the, oh, aren't you Tanisha? No, I'm not. Oh, I'm sorry. You're, and everything was always a T name, but very different from what my real name is, like, apparently. Mm-hmm. So I felt like some of it was purpose shade, and it was like a power thing. But once I got into positions where I was really like kicking ass and, like making the money and my name being known, then I didn't get that as much. And then especially in my career, if I was one of 3, it was a little easier for them to tell us apart, Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I wish I would have had that song to play when those things happen.
Right.
I do want it to be my ringtone, I feel like. So
Yeah, I have to find that on like I keep saying I need to get on the TikTok and actually do some stuff. And now that I actually have a break between classes, I really should figure out how to do that.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. Once you spend about 6 hours and you like get sucked into it, then you're like, I'm a pro.
Yeah, I know. I watched Dean do it.
Right. He could teach you.
How about you there, Linz?
Sorry. When MJ was talking about falling down the stairs, I was like, shit, I didn't medicine. And I started choking on it because you made me laugh. So I've been over that here choking the whole time. I definitely experienced this at Xerox. And what a lady told me is that it actually is that, and this is an older Black lady who told me this, y'all, I don't take it how it is, whatever. She told me like what it is that people talk about you and they gossip about you, but they don't know you. They just only know you're Black. So then when they see you, they're like, oh, I know her. I gossiped about her. Oh, that's Jessica. So they come up to you and they're like, Jessica. And you're like, hi, and they're like, oh, I don't.
I didn't know there were two of you.
Right. So then the disconnect happens. But like I used to get, people knew it was me. Like they didn't get that wrong because I was I don't want to say asshole, but you all know I'm vocal. So they got it right. Yeah. Yes, it is Lindsay. Hi, how are you? But that's what it is. People talking shit, and they talk about when they're trying to identify you, when they're talking shit, they don't know what to say other than that Black girl. So that's how they come at you. There it is.
I do have a curiosity about this on the flip side. Do Black folks do that with white people?
No?
I mean,
straight up ask you your name.
I'm gonna say no with a caveat for me.
Well, I was gonna say that part. Or we give nicknames or characteristics.
Yes,
They'll be like, you know which one I'm talking about. The Doug, the one that wears the corduroys that look like they're too short all the time. Like that. Yeah.
So like my little caveat is that I have face blindness. If I haven't like seen you in real life a lot, I will have a lot of trouble. Even if I've seen your picture like a million times, when I see your in real life face, it doesn't quite match at first. And it takes a while for my brain to actually connect to them. And so I can meet somebody 100 times and not fucking know who they are, Derby. And, but also I can become best friends with somebody in a night and they will be my best friend forever. Like it's all a matter of like how my brain processes it and inputs it. So sometimes I have, I've never mistaken somebody like that, but I've definitely had moments where I've met somebody and been like, which white girl is this? Like, is this the white girl from this team or is it the one with, like, you know? So,
I mean, I've done it with white people.
Blondes, especially with me.
Yeah,
like
it's well,
there's a thing there.
I mean, but I'm curious is if it's, you know, when there are, because I would think that it would happen more with white people because
I would think so.
Because they're, you know, we're the majority of folks. I mean, and I suppose I could understand why it happens with Black folks because of the minority aspect, where if you're not seeing Black folks all the time, I saw a Black person yesterday, and then I saw a Black person a week from then, and you know, and that's all I see, right? And so I could see that there would be some confusion, but you know, it's like this gal was talking. She's been there for years, and you know, it sounded like these are people that have come into the store or wherever the hell she works multiple times. And should have known better, you know. But yeah, I mean,
when you pass somebody in the break room or you're at the Christmas party and shit like that, like come on, like come on, like that, you know, just hey,
I don't,
you know what I'm saying? Like it at least one, when you say that we're all looking like, please, like actually let me look like.
Yeah, right. Like the girl that I supposedly looked like had lighter skin than me, darker freckles than me, had actual black hair, whereas mine is pretty straight for the most part. And I have let's just say I'm more endowed than they are. That's a nice way to put it. I have gigantic fucking tits. So and to me, I didn't look anything like her. Like she was shorter than me, and like just the body shape was different. Everything was different. Like I could not see the resemblance, but so many people, like, it wasn't just like once or twice that this happened. Like people in different fucking states thought that we were each other all the time. And of course, people local would do it too.
Their way of proving no Black people. Because I know that you and you. And so I think partly of it too is they want to be like, no. I know you and Tyrone, right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I don't even like that dude. What are you talking about? You know?
Are you related to
Why is it the generic name for
Erykah
a black guy
Badu.
is always Tyrone?
Erykah Badu.
And that's so bad.
You
'cause
gotta
I'm definitely
call
like, I will
Tyrone.
sure go to that.
You better call Tyrone.
Yes, I will sure go to that too. I mean, I don't know why. Because I first of all, let me tell you the worst name I heard ever the other day. Leviticus.
No,
I love it. Genesis,
Living.
Exodus, Leviticus,
Girl.
Numbers, Deuteronomy. All my Catholics, you know.
Oh no.
But
Oh
I
no,
wanna
thank
take-
you. No.
I mean, I'm not anymore. I'm spiritual, not religious. But
You're a
on the
recovering
reverse-
Catholic.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. On the reverse, though, listen, this is my experience, though, as a black woman in an office, y'all, and I do not do gossip. I'm notorious among my friends. I do not like people talking shit about other people when they're not around. I want to talk to you to your fucking face, and I want to throw down. That's me. That's my energy. But in an office environment, you often can't do that. So here's what we do. So I'll meet Jane. Jane is black and Jane is new at WebMD. Let's pretend I work at WebMD. And so me and Jane meet in the break room. We get to give each other the, another black person. Hey, girl, hey, look. And me and Jane happened to catch each other in the bathroom one day. We start talking, we exchange numbers, and then me and Jane start talking about office politics. And we start talking about Sally, Joe, Jeff, Greg, and Carol. And she'll be like, oh, Carol the redhead. Wait, which Carol? Which redhead? This one or the one with the freckles or the one, Carol, the one who like you say hi to in the morning and she tries to talk her
like she don't hear you?
Thank you. And that is exactly how it goes. And we're like, oh, I know that bitch. Yes, I know her. Oh, I know that Carol. And then you become that bitch or you, whatever nickname, like MJ said before, we assign to you. That's how
we had a girl that we used to call her Smelly Cat because her vagina smelled so bad.
For real.
And we called her Smelly Cat. And when she was around and when she was not, but bitch, that was your name.
Here
Use a
fucking-
little Summer's Eve something and we won't have to call you that.
Yeah,
But
hear it
that's-
clapping outside the bathroom. Yes,
yes,
and that's
right.
exactly what we do. And then we know who we're talking about. Oh, I know exactly
1,000%.
who that is.
Yep.
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 That's what we do. And it's, and it can be taken as being mean or can it be just be like, we remember things. So it'll be like, Lisa, which Lisa? The one with the flat ass Lisa. Oh, okay.
Right.
Like, that's
Right.
just, and it's, hey.
Yeah, every Lisa I've never known has had a flat ass. So I think that's hard to say.
And it's an alert system, to be honest with you. It's not like we're talking shit about you because we like to talk shit.
Yeah.
We're telling you like, hey, I know this person is a snake or is a racist or, might throw you under the bus. Watch out for this bitch or that bitch or whatever. That is seriously what it is. Like, I'm not talking shit about you for fun. I'm just saying, that bit, I know.
For self-preservation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we called the girl Run Tell That. Run Tell That.
God, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that phrase in a long time.
Fucking ran around the whole time. So, yeah, it is what it is. And I'm sure they probably said the girl that talks all the time, what my government name is. They probably said that. Or,
I'm sure I've been called every name in the fucking book. You can think of it.
girl
I've
that
probably been
takes
called
hour and a half lunches. Like nobody notices she takes an hour and a half lunch. Yes.
You know that really weird loud one? Oh yeah, that's her.
Yeah.
I
The
can't
one who
think of any
laughs like
good
a
one.
horse.
Me?
Yeah, that's what horse face. I've never called anyone horse face, but that's a common nickname I've heard. Me and Danielle used to call one lady Sherlock because she was always on every minority in that fucking office. She was on your case. What did you do? What did you mess up? Where's the mistake? I'm sorry. Hey, Sherlock. But her work was always fucked up. So we just started calling her Sherlock because she was investigating. Where's the magnifying glass?
You know what? It just dawned on me. So it's like where Karens come from.
Yep.
Like
yes.
we gave them a name and we do the same thing. Like my mom used to call girls heifers. I mean, she called it like it would hurt her feelings. She'd be like, that heifer.
Yeah, I remember that.
My granddad called every woman heifer. He was just a misogynist. So
yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, it's just another thing I think, at least about us, that we're just creative and it's in our vernacular and it's just, what we say. When Karen's telling everybody in the 45 people that work with her that they all look alike, come on, fuck on now. Like, that's just, you're being an ass.
I mean, we do know what the Karen starter kit looks like. So,
Dean, I will say this. So if if women say it about, or I'll just say, if Black women say it about, let's say, white men, it's usually because you're like, oh, the cute one, the one that looks like you can dance,
right?
The one that looks
when
like
I first saw my future husband up on stage, and I was like, oh man, that bass player is really cute, and my friend was like, oh, the one with the abs, and I'm like, no, the cute one. Like, we had totally different ideas of what that meant, though.
Yeah, there was a bass player from a friend band who, I mean, he was built. I mean, the guy was like he worked.
He was physically very attractive,
and his gimmick during a gig is that he would take off his shirt off.
Which so all the girls were like, oh, that guy, and I was like, no, the one who actually like played and sang and had a personality.
Yeah,
I don't have abs, so I have to have a personality.
Well, my friends, when I dated white boys, they'd be like, who's he look like? Justin Timberlake or Channing Tatum? Like,
lesbian or Justin Timberlake?
The way that, if you could say we say you look like anybody, it's things like that. Once again, it's characteristic who you look like.
Who do I look like?
That would probably be the gist of it.
I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious what you guys think I look like.
Who do I think you?
Yeah, we're all quiet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Just out of curiosity. I mean, I'm not going to be offended. But.
No, I did when I first saw you. I did when me, you, and T had our first Zoom call. I told him he looked like somebody, and I can't remember now because he was like, "No, he looks like this person," and we had like a whole discussion about it. I can't. Oh my gosh. Oh, I said a little like Drew Carey, but I said it's just like I think it's just like your head shape and your glasses.
The head shape and the glasses.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's where it stops. That's it. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Now you're gonna make me be thinking. I'm gonna be like texting you later, like and this person and this person.
Like I've been paying a lot more attention to the return, thank God, of Brendan Fraser, and I feel like both of you have kind of aged in that same kind of direction. You both have rounder faces than you did when you were younger. Like he doesn't have the beard, but other than that, it's kind of similar there. Like not exactly in any way, but you've aged similarly. Yeah. Like you both had the same kind of shape when you were younger, and he was more put together than I was. That was,
and I think
that was an older. You were already so. I'm not talking about like when he was in his 20s. I'm like talking about you in your teens, him in his teens when he first started acting, and he was skinny with the big head, just like you were when you were that age.
Yeah,
and then
and like Blast from the Past.
Right. He just happened to have
school ties. That's what it was. Yeah.
School ties. Yeah.
So Blast from the Past he was already actually pretty popular by that point. School Ties would have been when he was a teenager.
Yeah, that was the first thing I ever saw him. Yeah, Matt Damon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I mean, I look at him now, and I think he does look like he's gotten probably more chubby than me.
Yes, he's got a rounder face than you do for sure. I would have to see you guys side by side. It's hard to judge because you both are very tall men.
I think he's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah,
he's really super tall
with broad shoulders before the weight. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if I was personally to compare myself, and I don't think I'm anywhere as attractive as him, would be Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
I can see that one too.
Who's
Negan on Walking Dead, the dad on Supernatural.
Yeah, the Winchester dad.
What else has he been in? He's been in a lot of stuff.
I'll look him up because I think that's
He's handsome as fuck.
You see me? I'm sitting here. I'm just staring at you like who?
I'll bring up a picture of him here. See.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If I can.
Yeah,
I'll just do it this way. Share
screen. Everyone at home is going, what are they doing? Yeah.
Not hella much like him.
So, this guy.
Yes, I see that. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Because we're both about the same age too.
I think it's only because you have on a flannel right now, but kinda a little like Kevin
Smith.
Uh-huh.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Before he got all skinny.
Yeah, well, we both had the same heart procedure.
I was gonna say even after that, like
maybe
when he
should get a little
lost
skinny.
the amount of weight because he was a big guy.
I didn't have a heart attack. He had a heart attack.
Yes.
I didn't.
Yeah.
They caught yours before it turned into an actual heart attack. Thank God.
But yeah, I mean, I'm lower on my weight than he was when he had his. So
yeah, that's all I was saying. That's the major
yours was more congenital.
You never seemed like you had to wear a fucking trench coat.
I did get me a Kraken jersey.
He really got comfortable with it.
He did get it. So the new hockey facility has opened up down the street, and Dean got so excited that he ordered a hockey jersey.
Yep.
And he's so cute. He got home, he put it on. He's like, look. It's adorable.
And it's based off of character from Letterkenny, Shoresy. And so the name on the back, I got Shoresy's name and number on the back. So it says Shore, because Shoresy is Shore, his real name, and his number is 69. So
with a C,
and the C for the captain.
So it's a Kraken / Letterkenny mashup.
Yeah. I would have never known anyway.
I don't want to offend you, and this is not who you look like. I'm big into energy reading. I know people think that's weird. You carry the same energy as John Goodman.
Okay,
energy.
I can see that.
Yeah,
it's not right.
Good one. Yes.
John Goodman always comes across as a warm.
And even when he's playing a bad guy, you almost don't believe it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you don't want to believe it when he's the bad guy because he's such,
Yeah, even in, what was that? The Cloverfield Lane where he was the guy.
Serial killer.
Yep.
That was a good one, Lindsay. I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah. It's not looks,
I'll take that. I'm not offended at all.
Yeah.
No, that's
exactly. It
just
is just
because
energy.
A person, just because a person is big doesn't mean it's a bad thing too. And he's another one who's lost a whole lot of weight.
Yeah.
He's skinny now.
And to me, it's even like it doesn't even get into the physical. I know I'm weird, y'all. I'm just not hiding who I am anymore. I can read people's energy.
That's awesome because you're right, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
So if you had like a soul tribe, that would be somebody who was in your quote unquote soul tribe, someone you would bond with, get along with, like how you talked about going into voice acting. Bitch, if you don't go into voice acting because like you carry this energy to shape shift and do the stuff, the joy, the warmth, the comedy, like that's your direction.
Yeah. I concur.
Well, it helps because I love you guys. So
true story.
Oh,
hey, before we wrap it up, is there anything like super cool coming up that you guys wanna I don't know, what's the word?
Promote.
That's the word.
I mean, you guys.
I mean, you've already done your Cannabis Expo thing, so
yeah. So I just did that. Oh, I am doing a photo shoot. I am going to be in a Ganja Goddess calendar.
Oh my!
Which is part of the women in Cannabis Expo. So that I go back to Reno, on Thursday, and then that'll be out within a month or something. Actually, I think it's coming out for the new year.
Very cool.
Which would make sense since this one's almost over. And my lipstick line, my merch store is inventory is ordered, packaging is created and being done. So just in time for the holidays, you guys will be able to get your Lit Lip matte lipstick.
Nice.
Sounds good to me. I want to try it for sure.
I know.
All right. Anything from you, Linz?
No.
All right. Then I guess we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I need you to get the hell up out of here.
Hey, thanks for joining us again as we make our way through the trials and tribulations of the Freeman family. We hope to see you back again next time for the fundraiser.
Want to know where to find us on the social medias or where to subscribe to the podcast? Just head right over to www.theboondockspod.com/links.
Have a stupid white people question you want to leave us? Email us at host@theboondockspod.com or leave us a voicemail at 760-933-8636. That's 760-3-UNDO.
Shout out to the artists who've created our intro and outro tunes. Our intro is #MakeAChange by KIRK. You can find them on Spotify, iTunes, and Tidal. Our outro is Good Times by Audio Binger. You can find them on freemusicarchive.org and YouTube.